My name is Sister Johanna, and I'm a Franciscan sister, and I suffered from both fibromyalgia and Meniere syndrome, which left me wobbly the whole time, so a significant amount of pain everywhere in my body, as well as what we call the Fibro fog, not being able to get out of bed in the morning, not being able to follow a conversation at a meeting unless I was sitting that I could see everybody on both sides and not have to turn my head, because then I would get almost car sick. So I had to reschedule, restructure everything, scope out a room. The pain wouldn't let me sleep at night. It just was miserable. I was just miserable. And so much so that I kind of withdrew into myself. I live in a community of sisters and became very withdrawn. The pain was so difficult to deal with. Fog was difficult to deal with. And then people don't understand because you don't look sick. So that was a problem as well, because they're both syndromes, diseases you can't see that you have them. So that was horrendous. But there was a sister in my community who was suffering much more than I did, and I remember looking across the chapel at her and see her buckle under the pain. And so she was seeing every pain doctor. She was on all kinds of hard medications, was loopy because she was on so much pain meds, and so I saw her in the summer, and then I went back at Christmas time and saw her, and she was a new person. And so the secret to her success was upper cervical. So I'd never heard of it. I didn't normally trust chiropractors too much. I'd never even seen one. So and I worked for 6 years across the river from Palmer School of Chiropractic. So I should have been a little bit more open-minded, but I wasn't. And so she said to me, come along, let's go and see what he's done for me. So we went, and he was wonderful, and he did a scan of my neck, and he said, oh yeah, there's problems, and he put me in touch with Dr. Bulow. So that was very kind of him. He sent a personal email. And I have no stand up and walk story. It happened gradually, but even from my first adjustment, my first posture check, I felt like I was actually standing on the ground with 2 feet instead of kind of always worrying about losing my balance. And from then on, I just got better and better. So the fog is gone, the dizziness is gone, I can sit anywhere, I can follow a conversation. And it's been remarkable, because with the pain gone and with the fogginess, dizziness gone, I interact with people better. I'm a teacher, and I could pull it off for my students and then go home and be exhausted. And so now I don't hide it from anybody, and I feel so much better. And I feel like my other sister, that there's a whole new lease on life, and I've become an apostle of upper cervical. You just can't help it, because really, even when I felt bad, you don't realize how bad you feel until you feel better. Yeah. And that's what happened to me. It's like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe how sick I was. I was on pain medication, but it did a terrible things to my stomach. Couldn't take pain medication anymore. And really, there's no cure or treatment for fibromyalgia, and so you just tend to suffer in silence. So I'm very grateful to Dr. Nate and then to Dr. Bulow for what they've done with me with upper cervical, and I would recommend it. At least to try it. It's worth the try. It's worth the initial visit to see if you can be helped. One thing that I found interesting in visiting Dr. Nate for the first time is that he was a godly man, that was obvious, and that he used the whole body, soul, mind connection in talking about what he did, that we're made in the image of God and we're restoring our health the way God created it. When I came to Dr. Bulow, I found the same thing, another godly man who really saw the whole organization of how our bodies act as an act of God, and wanted to restore that. And for me especially, I find that very comforting. I find it very comfortable, and it's wonderful to be able to share a spiritual sense of well-being with your doctor, which is not always the case.